What's Your Story is a class pretty much made as like an outlet for students to tell stories in like a memoir type setting. And it's really great because you get the performance aspect as well, which is something that you wouldn't get just from writing that down. You wouldn't just get that from putting all of your work out in a book or something like that. You're really getting the live aspect, which is something that's different about it.
What's Your Story for me is, it's about, What's Your Story is about, basically trying to remember my life.
What we try to do is get students to, find true stories from their own lives. Basically, stories that hopefully are formative experiences in their lives. And in the telling them, but not just in the telling them, but we work on them, we explore them, find the proper beginnings, find the appropriate ending. But in the meantime, in the writing process, we're exploring basically how we felt during those experiences and how those experiences shaped us. When we look at the stories and how we reacted to certain circumstances, it gives us an idea of who we are, our habitual patterns, mistakes that maybe we make time and time again, and hopefully learn from them.
What's Your Story is about the stories of your life. And it's about taking those stories and crafting them into tales that you can tell on stage.
When Elliot and I were 6 or 8 years old, I'm not sure which. Elliot is my twin brother. Goes here, you might know him, maybe. Anyways, we were running around the house. Just, for some reason Elliot had a pen, I don't know why. Papermate, I think. Was it Papermate? Anyway.
What is your favorite story of all time? Either one of yours or one you've heard?
Having that live bait. This woman told a story about how she, for some reason, for many years had lived in churches, like former churches. And she and her husband had bought a house that was a former church. And I guess every so often people would still come and visit, thinking it was still a church. And they get these strange visitors all the time. She had to tell them, it's not a church anymore, I'm sorry, because they can't help. And she says, one point this guy comes, she gets a big knock on the door. It's like a big wooden door, real old church. Big pounding on the door. And she opens up and there's this guy there and he's kind of dirty and he's like ratty hair, he's scraggly, he's got this like Jesus wandering through the desert look, just drawn and desperate looking. And she says his eyes are like, it's like you can't see the pupils. They're just like, almost like pure black. And she's like, can I help you? And he says, I've come to kill Jesus. I mean, he's serious, I've come to kill Jesus. And she says, you know how in life there's times when you think of the right answer and it's always too late? She goes, this was the one time that she thought of the right answer at the right time. And the guy looks at me and says, I've come to kill Jesus. I looked at him and said, well, yeah, too late. And slams the door in his face.
My favorite story was one about me, actually. When my dad was creating a documentary of the Tour de France, I actually, in the morning when we were going to leave this hotel we had stayed at for a night or something, I don't know. But anyway, I went out to the car, I didn't know how to turn the radio on, and I accidentally started the car. It lurched forward almost over a cliff. But thankfully the emergency brake was on.
This guy I know in New York who owns a shop who I talk with about fashion and stuff like that. And he was telling me once about how when he was 17 he ran away from home with 3 of his friends and they all just kind of traveled along the East Coast and eventually he ended up in New York and he was homeless for a really long time and he would shoot dope with any famous person he met and there's just tons of different really great things about his life that he was telling me about that really led him to the story where he ended up working and meeting his boss and like the people who really kind of got him out of that and how he kicked his habit and stuff like that. And I thought that was like one of the most inspiring stories that I've heard, just 'cause his life was totally turned around. Like,